Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, your goal is to find the best move for white. So I found this puzzle to be quite instructive because of the lesson behind it. And if you see the answer, great job. If you want to take a second and try to figure it out, pause the video. Also, I have the position pasted in the description below, so feel free to play with it on chess.com if you'd like to look at different variations. Okay. Let's get started here. So when you take stock of the position, notice that the rook is cutting off the king. Notice that this knight can give a check. There's also some stuff happening by your king. Maybe there's a check here one day if this knight and this rook don't cover this square. Maybe there's a rook sack. Maybe there's a knight check because you're not able to take it because there's a pin. All these little things you have to notice, right? Okay, so what's the first move you might think? The first thing that I saw in this position, and the reason why I find it to be instructive, is this check. So, if I make this first check, rook a8 check, the king has two places to go. Now, depending on how far you want to calculate this out, you might be able to see that this is going to be winning for white pretty easily. So for example, the way I thought about it was, let's say the king goes to g7, I give a check, forking the king and the rook, and the king is going to move. Let's just say they go in the corner. And don't take here first. Instead, take the rook, intermediate move, and then they check, or they take back, and then you take. And after something like this, I calculated up to here and thought, I am totally fine. I'm threatening this. How are they stopping it? It doesn't really matter. I'm going to win anyway. So that's one way to think about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, and I think this is the key point in this puzzle and in chess generally, when you find a good move, as the quote goes, you should look for a better one. So, if you can find the flashier move here, the nicer checkmate actually, this is kind of the whole puzzle. That's the goal. So, in this position, the first move is actually knight e6 check. Okay, so notice that this rook is cutting across, and the king is in check, which means the only move is currently king e8. And now you have to calculate out these fancy variations, but I think the reason why these puzzles are good is because it helps you kind of strengthen that calculation muscle, if you will. So, in this position, there is a superstar move. This knight is looking at this square, looking at this square. There's still these checks in the air. I have a check here, I have a check there. I have lots of checks, but here's the move. And if you spot it, let me know in the comments before I tell the answer, if you got it or not. The move is queen to d8 check. What in the world is happening? Well, first of all, I should say the king has to take it. The king is cut off, and also the king is being checked. So the king has to, the king does not have to take by the king. It has to be taken by the bishop. So it gets taken by the bishop. Okay, now again, this king is cut off. This square is also cut off. If only I could place a knight, for example, maybe right here. That'd be mate, right? Okay, keep that in mind. Well, I have a knight check right now, which is this knight check. But if I did that right now, it gets captured and I have nothing else, right? If I do this, they take, and now what? I'm losing. I have just a rook, and this rook, and not really working out for me. Okay, so instead of this knight move, there's another superstar move. Rook to f8 check. Crazy. Okay, rook captures. Now what? Now the shoulders of this king are cut off, which means with this rook cutting across the 7th rank, like this, if I can draw the arrow, this is actually mate. Look at that mate. It's like a smothered mate, but it's kind of a different type of smothered mate. That's insane. So, the moral of the story here is if you have a good move, like that rook fork in the beginning, first you check and then the knight fork, I should say. Even if you go here, that's fine. You always want to look for a better move. Could you win this way? Of course you could. Let's see, check, king f7. Yeah, queen d5 check. The computer is telling me king g6. And then look, this is going to be queen g8. Yep, there you go. This is going to be fine. Is this nice? Of course it is. But is that as nice as the checkmate that I just showed? I don't know. I don't think so. I have a feeling that the other checkmate is a bit nicer. But it's about making that additional attempt to find the best move in the position. You might find a winning shot, but you always want to look for the most precise way. And usually forcing sequences that can lead to mate are up there with the most precise ways to win. But that's it for this video. If you enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe. I put new videos out all the time, and every subscriber helps me out a lot. Thanks so much. Bye.